Welcome back to Skytech-Lens. A wave of optimism swept across the American heartland with promises of a manufacturing renaissance and good automotive jobs returning to the U.S. Stellantis led the charge, announcing a $13 billion investment in states like Illinois, Ohio, and Michigan, hailed as a victory for American workers. But beneath the surface, trade policies meant to protect industry were creating volatility and rising costs. Automakers faced soaring production expenses and tangled supply chains, with tariffs acting more as a cage than a shield. For every new job in the U.S., factories in Canada dimmed, as seen when Stellantis paused retooling in Brampton, Ontario. This drama highlights a split. The U.S. leans on tariffs and market size, while Canada builds a strategy on legal obligations, worker protections, and a green vision. The choices made now are setting the stage for two very different futures for auto workers on either side of the border. The stakes have never been higher for North American manufacturing. Aggressive tariffs were meant to level the playing field and bring jobs home, but the reality is far more complicated. Automakers now walk a tightrope, balancing political pressure, consumer demand, and skyrocketing production costs. Stellantis reported $480 million in tariff costs, with projections up to $2.4 billion for the year. Volkswagen faced over $1.3 billion in similar expenses. These are not minor setbacks. This is capital lost to trade policy, not invested in innovation or jobs. The result? A chilling effect on investment, with Stellantis canceling U.S. projects and a net loss of $2.3 billion. Factories slated for expansion one day can see plans shelved the next, leaving workers in limbo. The volatility makes it nearly impossible for families to plan for the future. The tariff tightrope is a daily reality for thousands of workers, not just executives. The promise of new jobs is now conditional, subject to the shifting winds of trade disputes. The American worker faces a future defined by uncertainty. While headlines tout thousands of new jobs, the reality in towns like Belvidere, Illinois, is one of disruption and insecurity. The workforce at the Stellantis plant shrank dramatically, and even reopening plans came with deeper cuts and restructuring. Stable, well-paid jobs are being replaced by more precarious roles, devastating local economies. Rockford, Illinois, now has the state's highest unemployment rate, as layoffs ripple through suppliers and small businesses. Stellantis also cut 400 U.S. office jobs, signaling cost-cutting at every level. The sense of loyalty and security in the auto industry has eroded, replaced by anxiety and fear of redundancy. Political rhetoric celebrates job creation, but critics argue it divides workers and obscures the precarious nature of these new roles. The human cost is paid by workers and communities left to navigate a future of diminished expectations. The promise of renewal rings hollow for those struggling to pay bills today. The industrial chess game continues, with workers caught in the middle. The reality stands in stark contrast to triumphant headlines. The financial strain on automakers is magnified by the tax-on-tax effect, tariffs compounding at every border crossing. A single car component can be taxed multiple times, inflating costs by up to 37.5% on a finished vehicle. Electronics, now 40% of a car's value, are especially vulnerable, with parts crossing continents before final assembly. Automakers must choose, absorb the costs or pass them to consumers through higher prices. Companies like Hyundai and Genesis have quietly raised ownership costs by scaling back incentives. The result? Cars become less affordable, undermining the industry's competitiveness. As prices rise, demand falls, leading to production cuts and job losses. The opposite of what tariffs intended. The tax-on-tax effect shows how protectionism can backfire in a global economy. The cycle threatens manufacturers, workers, and consumers alike. Canada has chosen a different path, developing a bridge strategy to protect its industrial workforce. Companies receiving public funds must legally maintain or replace jobs, with severe penalties for non-compliance. This policy moves beyond promises, making job commitments enforceable by law. The government is prepared to pursue legal action, creating a powerful disincentive for companies to abandon Canadian operations. Recent layoffs at Stellantis and GM galvanized this proactive stance, shifting from reactive measures to resilient policy. The strategy isn't about blocking restructuring, but ensuring transitions don't come solely at workers' expense. By embedding job protection into financial agreements, Canada aims for stability and predictability. This contrasts sharply with the US model of temporary incentives and political persuasion. Canada's legal safeguards signal a long-term commitment to its industrial base. Investment comes with a partnership-like obligation to the workforce. Canada is betting big on electric vehicles, building a self-sufficient EV supply chain from raw materials to final assembly. The Nexstar Energy plant in Windsor, a $15 billion joint venture, will create 2,500 jobs and power hundreds of thousands of EVs. Volkswagen's $20 billion Power Co. Gigafactory in St. Thomas anchors the national EV ecosystem. Additional government funding supports suppliers and incentivizes the broader EV supply chain, drawing in innovation and expertise. This investment is Canada's answer to the instability of the old automotive order. The strategy pivots decisively toward future technologies, not clinging to combustion engine jobs. Canada is positioning itself as the place to build the cars of tomorrow. The goal: stable, high-value jobs less vulnerable to trade wars. Canada's strategy recognizes that the EV transition will displace workers, so it's built a robust support system. A $450 million retraining fund helps 50,000 workers gain skills for next-gen manufacturing, battery tech, robotics, software. Employment insurance benefits are extended to 65 weeks for long-tenured workers, providing stability during retraining. A $5 billion strategic response fund helps suppliers diversify, while $1 billion supports small businesses and manufacturing communities. This approach supports not just individuals, but entire communities through the transition. The focus is on investing in people and places, not just factories. Canada's model turns a potential crisis into an opportunity for career development. The safety net provides dignity and security during profound change. The transition is managed, not left to chance. The US and Canada now offer two starkly different futures for auto workers. America's protectionist approach delivers headline job announcements but breeds volatility and insecurity. Short-term incentives and the tax-on-tax effect create a boom-bust cycle, undermining long-term stability. Nationalist rhetoric divides workers, weakening their collective power and driving down wages. In contrast, Canada's strategy is built on legal accountability, long-term investment, and a comprehensive safety net. By tying support to enforceable job commitments, Canada demands corporations act as partners, not opportunists. Massive investment in EVs aims to secure high-value jobs for generations, insulating the economy from trade wars. Canada's model offers a more durable path through economic transformation. Investing in retraining and robust support ensures the benefits of change are widely shared. The lessons: shared prosperity and industrial strength depend on long-term vision and unwavering commitment to workers. Thanks for watching. Subscribe the channel for more updates.